This training video describes proper lab etiquette as well as basic lab knowledge and techniques. Understanding this information helps us to ensure the safety of lab members, to maintain the validity of our research, and to promote a healthy work environment. In the cupboards, we keep many of our solids and a few of our liquids. On the shelves here, we keep our liquids in alphabetical order from left to right. Underneath this hood, we keep our flammable and our corrosive liquids. And in the fridge, we keep our liquids, many of them, as well as our organic materials, including DNA and antibodies. When working at a lab bench, feel free to dispose of things into a container. Make sure you empty the container when done working there. Please dispose of the glass into the glass box. Dispose of biohazard materials into the appropriate tub, and dispose of ethidium bromide tips into their container, and any other hazardous materials into its proper container underneath the hood. When washing things, make sure that you wash them 3 times with normal water and 3 times with double distilled water. At each sink there is a faucet in the center for normal water and double distilled water off to the side. When you have finished working at the lab bench, make sure to spray it down with 70% ethanol and wipe it off. Here you'll see a pipette. A pipette is used for picking up small amounts of liquid. It's very important that you know how to use this. To begin, put the pipette tip on the pipette, stick the pipette into the tip, hit it a couple times, not too hardly, to make sure it's on securely. On the side, you'll see these numbers. They represent how much the pipette is set to pick up. This is set right now for 685 microliters. Spin the top to adjust how much it picks up. Also match the color of the top to the pipette tip. Now, the pipette has 2 stops on this top lever, one there and one below. I'll show you why it has that right now. When picking up liquids, insert your pipette into the liquid, press it down to the first stop, release, pull out of the liquid. You've now just picked up 685 microliters of liquid. Now, go over to wherever you're going to place this. In this case, I'm going to put this into a 2 milliliter centrifuge tube. Press it down all the way to that second stop that I showed you earlier. Pull out the pipette tip before releasing. That is how you pipette. It's vital that you know how to do this. Now, also, you need to know how to eject the pipette tip. Press this lever on the side to eject it. Eject the pipette tip between every use. Next, I will teach you how to use the pipette pump. The parts of the pipette pump are in the middle, the lever; in the back, the circle is the roller; and at the very left, the white part is the plunger. You'll need to know these parts for using it. This is the serological pipette tip. This is what you use to measure with this. To use it, open it, stick the pipette pump onto it as shown. Keep the plastic. You'll dispose of it using that. Make sure you rotate the pipette tip towards you so that you can see the numbers on the side. This one measures in milliliters. They all measure in milliliters. In fact, to use it, insert it into your liquid, roll down on the roller in the back that I showed you earlier, and it'll pick up the liquid. You can see it faintly in the middle right there. Now to eject your liquid, take your container, open it if you haven't done so already, and now you'll use the lever on the side right there, what my thumb just covered. Press down on the lever, as I'm doing right now, to eject the liquid, and then to get the final amount of the liquid out, press down on the plunger. This also resets your pipette pump. And now you have learned how to use this pipette to dispose. Put the tip back into the bag, remove, and discard. This is a vortex. It's used to agitate liquids, as shown here. You can adjust the speed of the vortex with this knob, and you can set it to auto, off, or on here. This here is a centrifuge. It's used for separating liquids from the particles dissolved in it. When using, you insert centrifuge tubes into these holes as shown here. Make sure that it is balanced when you use it. Always put the cap on. Make sure you tighten it as tight as it will go or until it clicks. You can adjust the time and the speed here as well. This is the PCR machine. Its uses will be described more fully in another video. This is the pH meter. To use it, you simply insert the rod into your solution. It is from this machine that we get our double distilled water. To turn it on, push this lever down, and out of the spout comes double distilled water. This is the autoclave machine. It is used for cleaning materials. Both liquids and metals can be cleaned in here. If you do put a liquid in it, make sure that that liquid is put into a tub so that if it boils over, which is very likely, that the liquid will be caught. This balance is used for weighing more massive items. Make sure to zero it out at the beginning of every use. This balance is used for measuring very small masses. Make sure that the doors are closed, both the side and top doors, so that you can measure more accurately. This is one of our microscopes, which we use very often for looking at cells. Flip it on here on the side and use this knob here to adjust its focus, and this one to fine-tune that focus. This is one of our incubators. It's used for heating up liquids. You put a liquid in a bottle into it to heat it up. Use this weight to hold down any liquids so that they do not float around while in the incubator. This is a tilt table. It's used for agitating liquids and anything else you may be working on. It can be used for long periods of time as well. I will now demonstrate the proper technique for putting on and taking off gloves. Putting on gloves is very simple. A tip for putting on rubber gloves is to make sure that your hands are completely dry. It's paramount that you always wear gloves in the lab to protect yourself and to not contaminate our tests and research. Now I will demonstrate how to take off gloves. First, pinch one of your gloves in the palm and pull off the glove. Roll that glove up into a ball. Bend your wrist back, stick your finger underneath the edge of the glove, and pull off the glove. This technique allows you to take off your glove without touching the outside, ergo keeping yourself safe. In the lab, we use a few different types of containers. Right here you see a flask. We also use a beaker, as shown here, and we use graduated cylinders, as shown here. Each of these has different purposes and uses. When measuring liquids, it is important to account for the meniscus. The meniscus is a curve in the liquid. You can see that in these pictures of vials with liquids in it. The liquid adheres to the side of the vial, creating this curve. It can either be down or up depending on the liquid being measured. Just make sure that you always measure the liquid at the apex of the meniscus.